thank you so much, man, for giving me the time here to talk to you about your new film, Nosferatu, man.
My pleasure. Nice hoodie. Well done.
Hold on, wait, it doesn't stop there though. We're like really going all out to let the world know that this movie exists.
Nice.
Man, I was such a huge fan of what you did with this movie. I gotta tell you, like my inner goth teenage self watched this film and I thought, man, this is like the most metal thing I have seen in ages. I just feel like you don't do any wrong. You're 4 for 4 right now with all the films that you've given us. But I know for you that this is a long passion project that you've wanted to do for many, many years. Would you say that what is up on that screen is exactly what you envisioned all those years ago? I
mean, you're always trying to reach too far, and that's like one of the pleasures of doing creative work is to stretch yourself and to challenge yourself so that the next one can be better. But I'm to be blunt, I don't hate the movie, and for the most part, I feel like I did a successful job of getting what was in my imagination onto the screen. But I mean, this film version I started over around 10 years ago, and I'm glad that it took a long time, and I'm glad that it wasn't greenlit in the first iteration or the second or the third. I'm glad that it happened now because I've grown a lot as a person and as a filmmaker, and so and my collaboration with my creative heads of department has only grown stronger, and we're further extensions of each other. And this, is not only my vision, but over the years it's become a collective vision. So I'm proud of that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely becoming known as one of those directors who's got the close-knit crew that you love working with, same actors time and time again. But you're working with a couple of new people on this one, too, who you haven't worked with before. So tell me, what does it take to get in with the Eggers crew, if you will, on a new project?
I mean, I'm looking for actors who are just hungry to go for it. That's the most important thing. Like I've learned over the years that people who are kind of wishy-washy or aren't sure, like I don't want to work with them. I want people who desperately want the role, and then I know it's going to be fun because they're going to be up for anything. And obviously, Lily Rose Depp's performance in this movie is so incredible, and she just has a kind of raw ferocity and courage. She also has a real sensitivity and is just just plugged into that character. I mean, it's amazing.
It really is amazing. Did you know when you hired her that she was capable of doing all the things that she's doing in this movie physically? Because it's pretty remarkable what she's pulling off here.
She gave a really incredible audition, which had the same tenor of emotional truth and power, and I don't want to repeat adjectives, but again, it was raw in that same way, and you really and she was there. But I also knew she had a dance background, so I had high hopes that she would be able to do everything she did, and she did. But she worked, for months with the choreographer and learning how to move her body in this way. And it should be noted that there's no CG enhancement, there's no wire work, there's not even under or over cranking camera, though we experimented with it. That's just her performance, and
yeah.
And talking about unaided performances, Bill Skarsgård gives this very transformative portrayal of Orlok. I mean, he's totally lost. You don't see Bill at all, and you don't hear Bill at all. And Bill worked with an opera singer to lower his voice to give that that commanding sound. And once again, that's not digitally enhanced. That is Bill.
Yeah. One of the things that is a commonality across all your work is how your films always have this incredible atmosphere. And it's one that can be dread, it could be excitement, it could be tension, but there's always a feeling of the environment that the characters are in is somehow affecting the performance and affecting us as an audience. Can you tell me what goes into, like, what's the secret sauce to creating the atmosphere specifically of Nosferatu?
I mean, any atmosphere is an accumulation of details, and we just do, me and my collaborators, we just do tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of research. And, like making it a historically accurate film is not better than just creating your own world, but it's something that I really enjoy. And I feel like it also, me and my heads of department, we know what we're after. We know that we're after this unachievable thing called historical accuracy, and so we're all like aiming for the same thing. And but when you see a painting that has all these details in it, then you can just replicate that and bring it to set. You don't have to waste time inventing things. So that helps make the physical, tangible material world of the period hopefully come alive with that much detail. And I put the same amount of work in writing the script to go there in the minds of the people and express the mindset of the period. So that's all part of creating the atmosphere. We also, in this film, like, we never turn off the fog machine, so there's literal atmosphere, as it's called in the practical effects world.
Helps also with the direction of the light too, which, man, Jaron's work on this movie is just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the lighting is massive, and the candlelit scenes are all lit with flame, and obviously the moonlit scenes are lit by movie lights, but if it's a moonlit interior, the only lights are outside of the set, shining into the windows. There is no in here I've got like a million little lights all over the place, like. It's not like that. It's like the lights are coming into the room and shaped, to create a kind of realism. I mean, I like, obviously the lighting's polished and heightened, but it is based on how light actually would make sense in the real world. Yeah.
Now, I know that you're a massive history buff, and obviously, like you said, that attention to detail is paramount to your work. Was there anything in the research of the era that Nosferatu takes place in that surprised you, or just you uncovered something you just didn't know before?
Well, one of the challenges was of doing this version was to make a new Orlok. And basically from Max Schreck to Bela Lugosi to Christopher Lee, all the way to Edward Cullen, the vampires are no longer scary. So I knowing my interests, I obviously went back to folklore when people actually believed in vampires and thought they were real. And it is like an act of unlearning Hollywood tropes, we don't do this in the film, but folk vampires do often turn into wolves and werewolves, but they never ever turn into bats. Like Bram Stoker made that up. Very often, folk vampires don't drink blood. They'll strangle you, or they'll, excuse my French, but they'll fuck you to death. And if they do drink blood, very often they drink blood from your chest. They drink your heart blood. And obviously, for this film, which as well as being a very scary horror movie, is also a gothic romance, a tale of obsession, a love story. There were some poetical things about drinking blood from the heart that seemed really nice. But I think that concept comes from old hag syndrome, sleep paralysis, where you're having a waking dream and you feel this extreme pressure on your chest. And Orlok himself, these folk vampires. These early folk vampires are often just like putrid, rotting corpses in appearance. So then I had to ask myself the question, what does a dead Transylvanian nobleman look like? And thus we get how we costume Bill and what his hairstyle is, and so on and so forth.
And as we end here, Robert, I'm going to ask you a final question, hopefully one that you can answer quickly. The personification of death of Count Orlok. Are you yourself, Robert Eggers, afraid of death?
No. I wouldn't like to die anytime soon because I have things to do, but I'm not
course.
I'm not afraid of death. It's it's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how beautifully you captured that personification and how it tells that story across Lily Rose Depp's character as well. You did the story justice, man. It's awesome. I can't wait to watch it again. And thank you so much for your time here. I really, really appreciate it.
I am afraid of evil.
Aren't we all? Take care, man.
Bye.